PS Plus free play 100% trophy challenge. I caught up a bit more due to the problems that I was having last week. They're doing a lot better this week, I will say, and I am able to catch up with a whole bunch of the achievements that I needed to. Found a couple of interesting things as well, which is fine and fun, and we'll go through those when I get to them. But I left off completely unable to beat Rom, the big horrible nasty piece of crap spider, largely because the AI just died instantly to the arcane magic, and I just didn't have the patience to do it on my own. I just ran out of patience and had to just run in and try stuff and blah 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 blah. So what I found myself doing was finding other paths, other ways that I'd come to dead ends and try and find a way around. So in this instance, the first thing I did was I went back to Carhane Castle. Now the enemies outside the castle were like massive flea type enemies, and they pretty much one-shot me. So I decided I would run past these enemies full speed and just get through the door, and I made it. And if we're being honest, the enemies inside are nowhere near the enemies on the outside, and that led me here. Now I'm on the roof of the castle, and this path clearly goes somewhere, so I started recording. I've been able to pretty much clear the castle out at this point. Like I said, all I really came across in there were the maidens, which were hard if there was a lot of them, and the gargoyles. And then we get to watch a creepy man wake up. I say man. Creepy king, he looks like. Yeah, the crown's a giveaway. Sounds like he's got arthritis. He's a tough SOB. I tell you what, I've sped this up. He is... Again, I haven't completed the game, spoiler, but so far he is by far the hardest boss I have come across. I mean, I do a lot of running around here, but I do get some pretty solid hits on him, and his life barely moves, and I'm finding that is essentially my fight against him so far. I can't get even close, and when I do, I don't even get anywhere near enough damage. Now I've started from getting into Bergenworth because I found a little interesting glitch with Rom, which is quite funny, I have to say. Now there is another spawn that you can use on the outside. You see there was no echoes there, but I took them anyway. But this guy is by far the best because the smaller spiders have to be hit from behind or the side, and his magic makes them face him and allows me to kill them quicker. So I like this guy, he's very good. I like him a lot. Okay, so in we go. I like my robe, and I dive in. Boom. I'm going to speed this bit up because again, it's just me and him killing all of these little spiders. I'm trying to see the way the double spin works is it knocks the head up so that I can attack underneath. I then suddenly realised that actually if I just push the button once rather than charge, the over-the-top axe will actually kill them immediately. So I just, I just go behind them, and you see, that's what I love. He kites them, I kill him. Works perfectly when he's alive. Now, I've slowed this bit down. For those who haven't faced this yet, the way that ROM works is once you've got the life down to about 2/3 to a half the life left, they will rotate and teleport out. You'll see here, look. Now, ROM is trying to spin away and teleport out, but because I'm wedged in there, it can't. It can't teleport out. So I just keep wailing on it. And then it suddenly realises, tries to go the other way, and it's dead. There you go. It didn't teleport once. I couldn't believe how long it took me to kill that spider after how long I was attempting to. It wasn't fair. It really wasn't. But that is a little interesting glitch that I found. So I speed up because I'm wandering around, not really knowing what I'm doing, until I find the figure in the distance. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't know whether I've missed it or whether I just haven't been paying attention, but again, I'm not really sure what the story is. I'm just kind of following the path, and I don't really know what is actually going on. Obviously, I get that there's demons. I get people are being turned into demons of different kinds, but I don't understand the path that I'm following necessarily. And it brings me out here, and I say, oh look, there's a big guy. Oh crap, it's the big guy, and I run. Before I even got rid of that off the screen. And you see, he nearly got me. He did nearly get me, so I'm glad I did run. And I was right. That room was the entrance to the unseen village. I thought it might have been. So that was cool. I'll have a little wander around there. It's a very hard place. It's a lot of just running backwards and forwards. But then I thought, well, if I can see that big guy in the cathedral, maybe I should come out here and see if there is one out here. Because I got thrown up in the air right at the beginning of the game, didn't I? So I have a little look, and there he is. There was one out here. You little bar lamb, you. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, the one in the other castle took me somewhere. So I'm not honestly sure what that one does, if I'm being honest. I don't know if that does something or not. Now, I had tried to teleport by accident to the grand cathedral, and it wouldn't let me teleport in there, and I'm not sure why. I wasn't sure why. I knew those guys weren't really moving unless you get near them, so it made it a little bit easier for me. I didn't have to bother with them. So I decided I'll have a little look and I'll see. There's some guys there. I don't have to fight them. And then there's a few here that I can just run past. Yep, excuse me. And then I noticed there was some big guys with crosses here, but they don't appear to be there. So I'm not exactly sure where they'd gone. And that was a little bit annoying. And then I come up here, and then turns out the crow lady is in this cathedral. Now, I've cut out my first encounter because she kills me a couple of times. 2, I think. But I have to say, it does annoy me a little bit because I don't know what happened to her. She just wasn't there one day. I saw that one of the items I needed I could only get from the crow badge, so I went to the big cathedral at the beginning, which was where I spoke to her first of all, and she wasn't there, and I haven't seen her since, and now suddenly she wants to fight me. Again, you know, and again, if there's no real reason as to why suddenly she's turned, other than the fact that the blood moon is now happening. So it's interesting. But yeah, she's not that difficult. She can get a flurry up, and that flurry tends to be what kills me. So as long as you can dodge the flurry, it's not and constantly heal. See, she's got quite a small amount of life for quite a long time here. Because I've noticed with now I've progressed further in the game.
You monsters. All hunters must die.
Now I've travelled further in the game. You can't just spam attack these enemies now. You have to actually think about what you're doing. So I use the crow badge to buy another item that I'm missing. Then I find this weird bath thing in the unseen village. It's interesting because essentially what happened, which was slightly strange, was every time I use a lift now, I always look to see if there's a hole halfway that I can jump out onto. And this was one of those holes. There was a hole in a lift, and I followed the pathway and it took me to a bath, which brought me out here. Now I've sped all this up just because, you know, anyone that can use this bath will know how to get there. Now I wasn't sure, it felt like I was close to the boss. So I have a little look around. I find myself some nice items. I have to say, gaining insight now is very handy, because there are some enemies that drain my insight, and I can't, I tell you what, I couldn't believe I actually beat them. I really couldn't. Now this is where he appears. I have to be honest, I thought the boss was the enemy that I could see the other way. This is very cool. I've cut out my first fight because, again, I die, very obviously. The ability to summon someone comes in handy for this boss a hell of a lot. Plus, I would advise for a lot of people, one of the very first things to do is just leave the guy you've summoned to attack the boss. And you just go up around the edges and kill all of the red maidens that are standing around the top, because they will shoot fire at you, which will just slowly erode your health without you realising, and they'll heal him, thing there. Let's be honest, that's a mess. That's clearly a guy. And yeah, basically you need to take them out. That really helps, because they do respawn, but it gives you the ability to have some defense. So as you can see, that's the first thing I do here. I missed it then, but while you're leaving your guy to do that, you just go around. I miss one or two, but as long as you get the majority of them, then that will really help. Trust me, that'll help. There you go. And now he's done some nice attacks for you. And then I just slice. I just go for it. You can tell when he's going to do kind of his area of effect attacks. So when those are going to kick in, you just run. But I've got myself some bulk, and he dies here, and I'm really concerned. So all I do is to keep checking my health, keep attacking, hoping that will do it, and it didn't. You have no idea how terrified I was of the idea that I was going to die there. It was only a couple of goes. It wasn't too bad because it's a big monster. But realistically, it's not that difficult. When you get in its legs, most of its attacks miss or just hurt you a little bit. So, you know, I think, right, well, where am I going next? What am I doing now? So I come in here. And, oh, would you believe it? Would you Adam and Eve it? There's a man. There's a mummy with a cage on his head. There's loads of them. Those cages are interesting because everyone seems to be wearing them. And I'm now on the top of the lecture building, which was nice because I wasn't sure how you got up here, and now I knew. Those torches are a godsend, I have to say. But while I was walking around the unseen village, I found the upper city Cathedral Key. And I suddenly remembered that this door was here. I kept randomly checking to see if it opened at any point. And as soon as I found the upper Cathedral Key, I thought to myself, it's gotta be there. Yep, and I got the achievement for that. Which is really nice, because that's a lot of the achievements coming together there. I have a little wander around. This is the place I was talking about. In the upper Cathedral Ward are evil, absolutely evil guys who are, they kind of suck your blood, they suck your brain, which takes your insight away, and they can freeze you in one spot. I died to those creatures so many times that I gave up eventually and went to the top of the place, which brought me here. As I was wandering around, seeing what there was, the light comes on, so I run away. That's really hard. The massive brain just keeps inflicting frenzy, which is nasty, especially the closer you get to it. So I decided I'd come back and try this boss, because realistically I hadn't fought this boss in quite a while. Gone up a couple of levels at this point. I know its head is like a weak spot, so I try to hit its head a lot. What ends up happening here, especially towards the end of the fight, it just keeps jumping and then landing with its crutch facing me. So I just keep attacking its legs and its crutch, because that's what it's presenting, so that's what I'm going to attack. See, when its legs explode like that, you do get a lot of health. You do take a lot of health off. There you go. See, every time he just keeps jumping and landing with his feet directly at me. So it's like, yeah, there we go. And again, it's not hurting me even. If I don't move, it doesn't seem, that jump doesn't seem to hurt me. So it's a very weird sort of move to do. And like I said, as long as I just back off a bit and make sure that I heal, then actually it's not too bad. Bang. I mean, looking at that here, I missed my last shot, but I ain't gonna fucking get another chalice. So then I get a trophy for killing the boss. And I got a trophy for the chalice. Yay, there you go. So with this now finally beaten, I decide, okay, so from here I'm going to have a little wander around and I come across the Keeper of the Nightmare, I believe it is. Now, the level itself, it's exactly the same as the castle. The outside is much, much harder than the inside. The enemies on the inside aren't actually that bad. And I managed to get my way around, get a whole bunch of different items. Now, I missed the first half of my battle. And it wasn't my first attempt in any shape or form. Those tentacle attacks are harsh. I mean, the missiles aren't actually that bad, I'm going to be honest. They're relatively pain-free. It's the missiles that hurt. I love this scream. Yay, there we go. I get the cage, apparently. And it unlocks another path. Now, this path leads to another boss, which from what I can understand, is the penultimate boss of the game. But I get to have a little wander around the Cathedral Castle, whatever it is. And I'm going to be honest, one of the first ways that I go brings me straight out in front of the massive brain, and I get frenzy so quickly when I'm that close. It is insane. Now, like I said, I'm always looking out for holes when I'm going up and down lifts now, and I saw this hole, so I gave a little jump. A little bit wary about what might be here, because you can't really tell. Put my little lantern on, because I always forget to do that until I'm in a dark spot. I don't have the achievement. I'm probably not going to catch it on screen, but I currently don't have the blood gem at level 15. I actually have 3 at level 14, and that is incredibly frustrating. But I probably won't catch that on screen. So I'll find this nice little lever, and down he goes. See you later, brain. Literally, I will see you later. Now, again, I'm a little bit annoyed because I've done a lot more research now, because I wanted to kind of know the remaining achievements I had left and what I needed to do for them. And it turns out that I could have got a decent blood gem here if I had the right thing to do to the brain. I wasn't aware that was even going to happen, and that annoys me a little bit because I killed the brain now. But I wanted to show that because I got the rock, which allows me to upgrade my axe. But then I'm working my way around, and I see this little elevator here. So I go down it, and it stops in darkness. There's nothing there. I'll forward this because I'm wandering around. I actually send the lift back up by accident. I don't mean to do it. I thought I was going to be stuck down here, but it turns out there was a lift on the other end as well, so I was a bit lucky there. But I couldn't see anything. You see, look, there it goes, bye. So I wasn't sure if there was anything there that I needed to kill, or if there was anything that I could see. So I have a little roam. I find the elevator again. That was nice of it to come back down. I feel like I should go in the direction that the door was open on, because that might help, maybe. You know, I can't really find anything. And I have to say, it does appear eventually, but for such a dark screen, it just doesn't seem to appear. And there he is. There's the brain. Now, like I said, for those who don't know, I found out afterwards that in the upper cathedral ward, you can gain a gesture. If you do that gesture to this brain, it gives you a special rune, a blood gem. I don't know what level it is. I don't know if it would have been enough to get the achievement, but I'm annoyed that it was something I could have done and I didn't. So I just keep wailing on it. I don't know exactly what I'm going to get, because you know, it doesn't, as far as I'm aware, it doesn't relate to anything achievement wise, I don't think, but I got living string for it, so it must be worth something. When I look at it in the thing, it says it's to use on a chalice ritual, so that's probably one of the higher end chalices, I assume. But very few chalices actually equate to achievements, so I may not need it. Here we go. Upgrade to number 10. And there it is. Weapon Master achievement. I love that axe. I'm going to be honest, I am so glad I didn't choose another weapon. Now, once you get past those creatures that freeze you and then drain your insight, the rest of the level is actually relatively simple. It's really basic, very simple. All you have to do here is just keep swinging the axe, because eventually the one that is the obvious boss, as you can see here, is the one that's right in the middle there. As long as you can just get your swinging done. I lost 2 times to this boss purely through being overwhelmed. If you don't take care of the little ones and just focus on that boss, you will die. You just become far too overwhelmed. Once the life is down to half, it grows, and then you can't mistaken which one the boss is. But it still takes quite a considerable damage when you strike it. And there you go. Bang. Oh, it's got funky hair, but it can't reach me. And it's dead. If I'm being honest, the witches were quite easy. That was probably the easiest boss in the game. So far, like ignoring all glitches and things, that was definitely the easiest boss. Just attack. Just as long as you don't let it overwhelm you, you're fine. So I went through the window directly behind where I lit that torch eventually, and I got my final tool. There we go, Hunter's Craft. That's another achievement. See what I mean? I'm racking them up. When you get to, I found when you get to the end of the games, you tend to rack up an awful lot of achievements towards the end. So this was 3rd time or 4th time, something like that, around 4, that I'd faced this enemy. Now this enemy is underneath the one I just faced, the big alien thing. It's like a massive type thing, I don't know what it is, but it has 2 legs. There you go, look there. Now, completely unexpectedly, I actually get trapped in there several times. When it happens the first time, I decide to just keep trying it. At one point it lowers its head and I want to get a visceral attack, so I keep going to the front to try and get the attack on the front. But as long as I can get in behind, see, it drops down and then I get the visceral attack, which is a big hit. So I go in and attack, I back off knowing it's going to charge, and then I just sit back behind it again. And it's crazy the fact that if you can get in between the legs, then practically none of the attacks hurt you. And it's, again, I don't know if it's a glitch or if it's just a way of fighting, but yeah, it wasn't that bad. So I get 2 achievements again. One for getting the chalice and one for killing the enemy, which is a bit weird. I mean, you know, there's a few times that happens, but you know, you're going to get one or the other. But so this is it. These are the trophies that I'm currently standing at. It says 51, but I only have a few. These 3, I think, are the 3 separate endings in the game. I'm working towards the weapons. It's not easy. That boss in the castle is just an absolute arse. The precious blood gem I will get, because I'm starting to go through the chalices now, and apparently that's one of the best places to get them. That is the guy in the castle. I don't know if I'm going to do this by Monday, if I'm being honest. That is the penultimate boss that I said about. I have been able to get the penultimate boss down to around 25%, so I'm getting there. It's one of those things. The problem I've got was I lost like a whole bunch of days where I just couldn't do anything, and it's really put me back. But even though it says 50%, there's not that many achievements left. So I will post another video on Tuesday, which is my final video for the month, because that's when the new games are released. Can I do it? 3 days left. Let's see. I'm going to give it my best shot.